Hello, welcome to another drive-in double feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get into anything, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/drive-in double feature podcast. Just a little fun bonus content that you can get for $5 a month with Nathan. I have some fun conversations, playing some games, just something extra for you patrons out there as a thank you for supporting us. But if you choose not to, don't worry. It doesn't affect any regular content. But today, oh man, I was gonna go into the ocean until I watched this movie. We're gonna be talking about 1995's Cruel Jaws, aka Jaws 5, directed by Bruno Mattei. Or Mattei, however you say. I think it's Mattei.
I think it's Mattei. Yeah. like Mike Mattei.
Who?
I don't know, some guy, my friend.
but anyway, no. Bruno Mattei though is a very infamous director, Italian director, who basically just takes either like the most paper thin plots and turns it into a movie, like an action movie, horror movie, whatever, or in this instance where it just blatantly rips off a movie by shamelessly stealing footage from other popular movies.
And just reusing the same plot. What an ingenious legend. That's what I call that. I call him a master artist.
Why don't people just do that more often? Just like release the same movie and just steal scenes from other famous movies.
I've never seen, I feel like we should do that more. Like whenever a new Marvel movie comes out, it's just like clips from like a Marvel movie from like 2 movies ago.
I mean, Toho so far has been doing it for years. They just reuse
but they own those clips. There's the big difference. But as they say, great artists take from other people's movies.
You're telling me that Bruno Mattei did not get explicit permission from Steven Spielberg to use footage from Jaws?
Permission. Yeah, no, I'm saying, he didn't get permission. But
well, I beg to differ.
But I want to remind you that this is an Italian production, which copyright laws were really weird in Italy, and that's why, you know what? Take it, name it. There's so many of these. We haven't talked about these, but like so many Italian movies that are just like called the same thing as another movie just to capitalize on the name of it.
Well, yeah, and we were talking before we started recording this. So in between Terminator and the Terminator 2 that we know, there is a Terminator 2, which Bruno Mattei just blatantly just made Terminator 2 and just was like, this is Terminator 2, even though he has no permission at all to call it Terminator 2. He just called the movie Terminator 2 and just said that was it and just hoped people would go see it.
Yeah, and I think like he made Zombie 3, which is like Zombie is what Night of the Living Dead is called, and it's like a sequel to that. But I think there's like 5 Zombie 3s specifically for whatever reason. It's weird. We're getting into some like interesting stuff I've always wanted to see. So I'm excited to get into Cruel Jaws.
Yeah, definitely. Now, well, as I said, this movie is allegedly filmed in 1995. You could have fooled me because this does not look like the 90s. If you told me this was 1985, I would believe you.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's so weird.
This movie does not. I mean, I know. I guess at a certain point it's hard to tell, but like my lord, I mean, it does not. It looks like the 80s, like all over.
People's hairstyles, like clothes, the brightness of it all, it just feels like the 80s. I felt exactly the same way. My favorite star, who he's not just from the 80s, but still Hulk Hogan shows up in this.
I was going to say the same thing, dude. That guy, like almost a carbon copy of Hulk Hogan.
He's like gross Hulk Hogan.
Like, okay, there's a guy that owns an aquarium or like a water theme park, sort of like SeaWorld, and the guy looks exactly like Hulk. He's got the bleach blonde hair.
Yeah,
he's got the Fu Manchu like mustache, handlebar mustache going on, and but he's got like a beer gut and everything. It's just
Yeah.
like,
And I don't know if you saw, it's a small detail, and I don't know if I'm the only one out here looking at this. There's a shot of his hands, and he has the grossest fingernails. You know how like people sometimes have like just bruised fingernails? This man looks like he's never taken care of his fingers ever.
just it looks like he's got like black nail polish along the
Yeah,
top of his nail, but it's like it's just so full of dirt.
exactly.
Hey,
It's
hey,
something.
hey, taking care of fish is a dirty job, Nathan.
It is, it is, it is. And he runs a an aquarium, and then you know what? He he might go in debt soon. Let's just say that it's not going so well for him.
No, so much so that if you thought the shark was not enough of an antagonist for this movie, there's multiple antagonists in
Yeah,
this
there
movie.
is. Yeah.
Not only is there an evil real estate mogul like trying to that I guess owns the theme park or owns the land that the theme park
That
is on,
it
and
almost
that
feels like he's like the mayor of town, but that also means like he owns everything too.
yeah, because he goes in there and like the guy has to pay him rent for the aquarium. He's like, if you don't pay up for the next 15 years, this is all going to turn into a big hotel.
And this is a little bit in the movie, but I love that scene where he's like telling him that like he's gonna, we're gonna get rid of it. A little bit later, there's that cop. There's a cop in this movie who's just a horrible actor. I mean, nobody's good in this movie, but this cop is so bad, and I love it. He's like, "Oh no, you're gonna lose the aquarium, or you're gonna lose like they call it an aquarium, but it's more like a marine park.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose this." And then behind him is another guy. He's like, "Oh, hey Billy, how are you doing? You're back." Just like complete tonal switch, and that is like this movie in a nutshell.
This movie is all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
because like I said, that's not the only antagonist. Because
Mhm.
later it turns out that real estate mogul is also controlled by the mob,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so there's like a a mafia boss like, if you don't take care of this, we're gonna have to come in there and show that shark who's boss. Like,
And he's like, "No, I'll take care of it. It's okay. I'll take care of the shark myself."
so it turns out like this guy is like being controlled by the
Yeah.
mafia, um, and also too the real estate guy has like a son who's also like the beach bully.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. There's like there's a bully subplot of just like mean like kids. I mean, they aren't kids. They're way too old for that. But
uh,
and oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the other that like the B subplot of this movie, other than the town being taken over by this shark, is that it's like a high school beach movie. Like it's
Yeah.
the but it's like all they're like probably like college age, I guess, but because the main character of this movie is named Billy, and he's a
Yeah.
marine biologist, and he's and like he has a girlfriend with him, and immediately right away, like the bully's name is Ron. He's like, man, I can't believe she's with a nerd like him.
Yeah, but the script is so I don't know what's up with Bruno. And I have to bring it up. There's no reason like I can't. He is obsessed with balls. And I don't
Oh my!
know what's going on.
Multiple people say I want to rip the balls off of him.
I'll rip his balls off and use them for earrings. Polarize him. You worry about winning. We can take care of him later. I'll shove his head underwater and drown him.
Yeah, multiple times. And like I don't think this guy understands how people talk, and I can't believe these people must have just wanted a paycheck. I mean, obviously, to be in something like this, to say some of these lines, because there's a really notable scene. I won't quote it, but I'm gonna put it in right here.
Hold it.
What do you want?
I'm the person in charge of pussy. I have to, check your credentials.
Dick brain, dick brain, dick brain.
I was dying laughing. This was I had to replay. I replayed it like 3 times, not even kidding, because I had to be sure that I heard it right.
That there's so many like fantastic lines in this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
There's another one. So there's another subplot where one of the guys working at the marine park
Mhm.
falls in love with the real estate mogul's daughter, because he has a daughter too, and they start like going like trying to like go on these secret dates and everything, and then Ronnie shows up and Ronnie like slaps his sister like right in the face.
I know,
like during their day, and like is about to beat the crap out of his own sister, and then they like, oh yeah, we're gonna teach you a lesson, and they take the other guy. I think was that guy Billy? Was that guy Billy, or was that Bobby? Or was that?
I don't remember. I
think it was. I think it was. Oh, it was Bob. That was Bob.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That was Bob, and they literally say, "Put the boots to him," and you just hear like these horrible kicking, like they're just kicking this guy like while he's lying on the ground.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Another line too. So aftermath of that scene, the Hulk Hogan guy, his name is Dag, but I'm gonna call him Hulk Hogan. He shows up and he says, "Hey, you guys, your son beat up my son for dating your daughter." And the real estate mogul said, so there's a girl that's also in a wheelchair too. We didn't say that.
Vanessa, right? That's her name.
No, I think it's Susie. No,
that's right, Susie. But who's Vanessa?
Vanessa is Billy's girlfriend.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, these names are all. There's so many characters in this movie.
And oh my god, this poor kid, like clearly no acting experience. Like I don't want to even make fun of her, but she's not very good. And
oh no, horrible. There's a scene where she's crying and she's not even attempting to look like she's crying.
But she's in a wheelchair, and they're like trying to have like these really sentimental moments with her, like.
But do you know the scene where they reveal where she's in a wheelchair is so funny because she's swimming. And they're smiling like, oh, it's so wonderful. And then she gets brought out of the water, put in the wheelchair, and they instantly start frowning like, oh my god, it's so sad. It's like, are you kidding me?
It's horrible, but it's just like it's so ridiculous. Like
it really is.
Fun. It's not funny, but it is.
It's one of those things. It's funny to laugh at that. Like a bunch of people got together, a director, writers,
somebody
actors,
thought this was a good idea,
and they were like, "Yeah, it's not supposed to be a bad movie. You watch this, and like, obviously, it's garbage, right?" They had to have known that, but they still put work into this. Somewhat, other than the clips they stole.
Like, do you really think that they were trying to be? I think they were trying to be very serious with this movie.
I think so too. I do think like it's not like those scenes were tongue in cheek, like something we talked about Evil Tunes recently. And those scenes were meant to be taken seriously. The screams and the yelling and everything.
Yeah, my God. But anyway, I brought up the girl in the wheelchair because the real estate mogul, he tells Hulk Hogan, he says, "Tell your son to stay away from my daughter, or you're gonna have to buy another wheelchair."
That's right. And then it shows a close-up of her, doesn't it? Like she was there hearing this conversation. They did not have the budget for Shark, and like they just stole clips. I didn't really notice anything because it is just shark clips, but supposedly it is from the Jaws movies, and like a few other things.
Well, the finale, the final shot of when the shark dies, that's the explosion at the end of Jaws.
Yeah.
So how much this movie is ripped off? I mean, almost the plot is, I mean, we say that there's all this crazy stuff. The stuff involving the shark, it's pretty much beat for beat Jaws.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And so much so that Peter Benchley, the man that wrote the screenplay and the novel Jaws, has a screenwriting credit for this movie. Like they had to credit him for this movie because it's so there's so much of this movie is stolen. And there's some scenes, like the scenes with the sharks underwater, which I think some of those are probably like public domain or probably stolen from documentaries, but there's some where it's clearly like a girl swimming underwater. I think it was taken from like the first scene from Jaws. And there's so many other ones, but they actually do. So I did read, like in this movie, they did, I guess, have like a real like fake shark.
I could tell that there was some original shark stuff, and it was bad. I mean, it was really bad.
Oh yeah, but it was fantastic to watch. I
Oh
mean, because
yeah,
it was this huge shark mouth, and they would just have like a dummy in the shark's mouth, just like flailing around, and very clearly, like the shark is not moving or anything like that. It is phenomenal.
And we got to talk about how this is edited too. Anytime there's a shark, the scene ends so abruptly. Like a shark will bite and then they'll cut like hard to something else. Like it does not linger on any of that. It's like, okay, we need to save that.
There's sometimes where like they don't even show the characters falling in water. There's one scene because they have a windsurfing race, and there's like they're on the surfboard and it's clearly just like them like outside like maneuvering these boards that they're not even actually on the water, and there's a scene where somebody falls in, they go whoa, and you don't even see them fall in the water, and you just see like this cloud of like pink in the water.
Yeah, and it's not even like a deep red, it's like a light pink in the water. That scene is so funny, the one where they're in the helicopter he's trying to gun down the shark, and like it dumb. I love the one scene where the beach bullies get together to go kill the shark themselves, and go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say the part I actually like before that is before that happens. So like the shark, it's eating people, but it's funny because like in Jaws, they tell people to stay away from the beaches and they get deserted. Like there are like British tourists like showing up to this beach, be like, hey mate, where's the shark? We came to see the shark eat people.
Yeah, I love that.
But yeah, that was funny. And then there's the whole subplot too of like Vanessa just randomly decides to leave Billy and
because
goes on a date with she said, Billy, because Billy, they're like, we got this new victim. We want you to come see if it was a shark that did it, Billy. And she's like, Billy, it's either me or the shark. What do you want me to do? Grow gills?
Once and for all, Billy, it is the fish or me. What do I have to do to get you to pay attention to me? Grow gills?
Yeah, and I think she tells him to jump off the skyscraper and go screw himself.
Well, the funny part about that is that she says that, do you want me to grow gills? And then her friend shows up to pick her up and she says, hold on a second. And then she says that and then walks.
I thought of a really good comeback. Give me 1 second. I gotta say it really quickly. But yeah, then she just goes and cheats on Billy and dances with another man in another part where the guy says, oh, I've got an extra pair of balls to spare. Bizarre,
horrible. But yeah, they decide, like you said, they decide to go become like they do like the scene in Jaws where they all get in their own boats and like, oh, we're gonna go take out the shark ourselves, and except it's like there's the good boat and the bad boat.
Yeah, no, there's two, but the bad boat is so dumb. I once again, this movie, I usually don't take a lot of double takes in movies, but I had to rewatch the scene to see if I saw it correctly. Of the girl, the shark's attacking them. The girl starts dumping gasoline on it, and then for whatever reason, the other guy thinks it's a good idea to shoot a flare gun through the gasoline they're dumping and blows the ship up. It is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Well, yeah, and like the other dumb thing was like you said earlier with the helicopter, it's like they hook the meat on the helicopter and throw it into the water, and I'm like, are they literally trying to just like pull the shark like out of the water, like
that's what I thought.
Line? Like that's what I thought they were trying to do. And
yeah, like have you ever seen the 60s Batman movie where the shark's
that's
on
exactly
the
what I thought. That's exactly what I thought about, and I'm like, is that what they're trying to do?
Yeah. Oh, there is one compliment I can give this movie. The music is really good. There's a theme that plays in this that's really beautiful. It's like the Jaws theme, but it feels a little more like sci-fi.
No, you're thinking no. It was taken from it was taken from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because remember when they get into the car and they ride in the when the valets steal the car, they play that same song. So that's where they got it from, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, I looked it up, and it supposedly it comes from that garbage movie that keeps coming up, Star Wars. But I bet you that doesn't use like the Imperial March or whatever the hell it is. Correct.
They probably ripped that off from another movie.
I can only imagine. But I do think it's funny that Jaws 5 does not rip the music of Jaws off.
They do kind of.
It kind of does. It goes there, but like,
but then it goes
a whole different direction.
Yeah. Oh man, this movie was an experience, because it's just like I didn't know what to expect, because I was kind of just expecting something really crappy, and that's what I got. Yeah. But so much more, just like it just endless entertainment from this one.
Yeah, it's like one of those movies, like, I will never say it's good. It is awful, terrible, garbage, but it's fun garbage. I had a really good time with this awful movie. It's funny to laugh at. It is. Once again, I never thought I really liked this idea, but I think we're kind of digging into like the trashier side of so bad it's good.
Yeah, this one and Deadly Prey, that's like stuff that's like, this is like the sweet spot right here. But
yes, yeah.
Another scene too I need to bring up before I forget. So like I said, there was a mob boss involved, and there's two scenes. There's the mob boss that was involved, and the real estate mogul's like, I can't kill this shark. Like, the shark, like, nobody's been able to kill it. My son's dead and all this. And so he said, don't worry about it. We'll go. I got these two guys. They'll go take care of your shark for you. And they go, and like one guy, he puts on the diving gear, and one guy says to him, he says, "Hey, be careful. That shark was trained by the Marines." He says, and the other guy says, "Don't worry, I was in the Marines." I'm like, what?
Yeah, it works together, right?
Yeah, because. And then
go ahead.
There's the other scene too, where Vanessa dies, and because the little girl falls off her wheelchair and into the water, and Vanessa dives in to go save her, and they get the little girl out, and then Billy's like, "Vanessa, come help! Like, I'll grab you," but he doesn't
actually reach.
He doesn't reach at all. He's on the middle of the dock on his hands and knees, like, not even like, if your loved one or somebody you knew, you're trying to rescue them, you'd be like hanging off the edge with your arm out, like, doing whatever you could. It's like he didn't even try. It's like
he goes straight for the no, Vanessa, no, don't die. Right in her face.
He was ready for her to die before she was even dead.
I know, when she could have been saved, because they got the little girl out pretty easily. Even though, I don't know if you noticed this, the little girl uses her feet to help herself get up.
Well, everyone's got all kinds of adrenaline. You can do miraculous things on adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline will change your life. But yeah, that scene is silly.
Do you think he purposely let her die after she went on that date with Ronnie? Like,
I think so. I think it was a revenge thing. Like, oh no, don't die. But yeah, I think if there's one knock, I do think this movie gets a little boring at the end, where they go and plant the charges to blow up the ship that the shark comes from. Because I think the idea is that if we blow up the ship where it lives, it will die too. And I think it's a bunch of scenes of them going back and forth into the submarine. I was like, okay, it's getting a little tiring.
Yeah, because there's a scene where Billy stays underwater too long, so Bob's like, "I'll go back out and get him," and then but Billy comes back up without Bob. And that one I will agree. That one, if I was going to give this movie a criticism. I was like, that one went on a little too long and was
Mm-hmm.
a little boring, but it does pay off, like I said, because the shark does explode at just like all the other ones, and it's again the exact same scene of the shark getting exploding in Jaws, and so it was definitely worth the payoff, I'll say. And of course they had to have like everyone they know has just been like brutally killed, so it's like this movie's got to go out on a silly happy ending.
It has to, of course. We didn't mention it mirrors the mayor gets dropped into the water by a sea lion earlier in the movie, and it happens to him again at the end of the movie. A sea lion knocks him in, and it's silly, it's goofy. The mayor does not get his due. He just hands them a check, and that's it. You'd expect him to be dead.
You'd expect him to be dead, but he gets off scot-free, except he just gets a little wet.
Yeah, exactly.
Last thing. Another really awkward bit was the editing of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice? So, like, there's a scene where it's like they go to the morgue to see the dead guy. Like, oh yeah, this was a shark, definitely. And then then it cuts to like mid conversation of them, like with the mayor and the real estate mogul. Like, you can't close down this regala, but it was like he had just said something like else, or it was really awkward.
No, the whole time, the whole movie is cut like this, where like it's whoever edited this didn't even like allow any like establishing shots. It's like you're cutting right into the middle of conversations. It adds to the fun, though.
It
honestly.
does. But I had to get that out there because I didn't think we'd ever get a chance to talk about it. So I wanted to make sure I didn't leave any stone unturned. But
of course,
if you can't tell, as a movie, it's very bad. But in terms of entertainment value, it's a really good time. I had a blast watching it. It is a pretty big recommend. If you're looking for a so bad it's good movie, I say definitely check this one out. It is very fun.
Totally agree. Lots of fun. Really just, I don't know, like you said, bad movie, but just an absolute blast. It's not, it only has that one section I mentioned that was boring, and I think even in the rest of the movie, the laughs you'll get out of it more than make up for that. So check this one out.
I'm a shark lover, not a demon lover.
Me too.
But Nathan, we got a pretty jam-packed week next week. What do we got going on?
Well, Ryan, next week ends up being a huge week for us. Not only is it Bondzilla, but we're Xing out the Bond. It's just Godzilla, because the end of the Showa era, which is a big deal. We got 2 movies left, so we're going to actually do that for Tuesday and Thursday, especially because we got a huge anniversary, episode 200 next week. So I'm excited to go over those. And first up on Tuesday is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. That is free over on YouTube.
Terrific. I am very looking forward to talking about these 2 movies. It's going to be the end of an era, quite literally, for us, because we've been talking about these movies for so long. So if there's a week that you want to listen, this is going to be the one week I'd say listen to. So, but thank you so much for joining us. If you want to send us any questions, please email us over at drive-in-double-feature-podcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to X us on X at DIDFpod, and check out the Patreon at patreon.com/drive-in-double-feature-podcast. But until next time.
Until next time.